going to make a note here under approval of minutes. And there was no March meeting, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Right now? Wait, what did you just say, Jeff?
I said there was no March meeting.
Oh.
That's why
okay.
we have
Okay.
February
Yes.
minutes.
Okay.
It's for the record. I wonder if attaching the minutes as a separate PDF to the agenda, so then when you send it out, it would have two attachments, if that would be.
I'm not opposed to that. I want to talk to, we have somebody, an analyst that runs our boards and commissions. I want to make sure that they're okay with having a different procedure for one of our boards than another.
Mhm.
That does make sense to me, of the things that are necessary to be reviewed to just be attached. Because you're not the only person from a board to say, hey, where were the minutes? And it's like, oh, it's actually, they're in here and then they're down there, rather than just attach them.
Yeah, it's like you have to read through the whole agenda to get
Right.
to, yeah.
I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, thanks. Let's see, so we
do have quorum.
We have a quorum,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh, wow.
a couple of minutes after 3:30, so we should probably call the meeting to order.
Absolutely.
Okay, I call the meeting of the Art and Public Places Committee. I call the meeting to order, and it's exciting. My first meeting as the new chair. Yay. Let's see. Let's do roll call.
All righty, Chair Nathanson,
Present.
Vice Chair Kiefer,
Present.
Committee Member Puentes,
Present.
Committee Member Faulkner.
Present.
All right, so let the record reflect that all committee members are present with the exceptions of Azadarian and then our new appointee, committee member, Trejo Vasquez.
All right, thanks, Jack. And we do not have remote participation for this meeting, so we move on to, are there any modifications to the agenda?
I believe we'll be moving the minutes, item 5, to a date certain of May 5th, because we had some issues with the committee accessing the
Thank you.
online
I was
minutes.
gonna do that under minutes.
Great, and let the minutes of this meeting reflect that the approval of minutes has been moved. Okay, are there any public comments at this time? No.
I would say not.
Okay,
Unless I must introduce myself.
if you would like to, please do.
Let's see. I'm a resident of Sonoma County. I have friends in Santa Rosa, and I am a resident of Petaluma. And let's see, why am I here also?
Do you care to state your name?
Forgot my name. Azira Fengaso.
Oh, very nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. Yeah, happy to be here. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so you're just here to observe for informational purposes for yourself?
Yeah. I saw this was online and I felt like participating and it was aligned with my schedule, so I wanted to give it a try.
Great.
Perfect.
All right, very nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along, we have department reports.
Yes, I would like to congratulate Chair Nathanson on receiving the opportunity of chair for APPC. We're really excited to have you in this position and a lot of good things moving forward. And we also have committee member Trejo Vasquez that will be joining us and unfortunately couldn't make it today. So she'll be at the next meeting.
And I understand she was appointed by council member Alvarez, and she's from the Roseland district, which is great. Yeah, great to have a member from Roseland. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8, the vice chair election. Kristen Kiefer has served as vice chair for the past year. Thank you, Kristen, very much. Do I have a motion to elect Kristen for another term, or is there a motion to nominate somebody else for the position?
I would like to motion to elect Kristen for another term for vice chair.
Very good. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Great. It's been moved and seconded to elect Kristen Kiefer for a term as vice chair. Is there any discussion? Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, I'll just state again that we appreciate Kristen's service over the last year, and we now will hold a vote to see if we can approve Kristen going for another year. You sure you want to do this? Just making sure.
Last chance to bail. Go for it.
Okay, then it has been moved and seconded to elect Kristen Kiefer as vice chair. And Jack, will you please call roll?
Absolutely. Chair Nathanson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer,
Aye.
Committee Member Puentes,
Aye.
and Committee Member Faulkner.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that we have 4 ayes and no noes. Motion
Great.
passes.
The motion passes and hello,
Congratulations. Thank you.
congratulations, Kristen. Good luck. Oh, no.
Serving with you will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I look forward to serving with you. Nathan, welcome. We have just re-elected Kristen Kiefer as vice chair.
Great.
Yeah. And in case you didn't get the memo, I'm now chair. Okay, we are on to item number 9, scheduled items. Meredith?
Great, thank you. Yes, for 9.1, I'll be reviewing 2 volunteer opportunities that I can use assistance with, and requesting 1 to 2 volunteers for each of these tasks, ideally, depending on your schedules, because I know you're busy. The first one is the arts mapping project. I know I've brought this as a discussion item possibly a few times forward. We have all of the permanent art currently mapped in our GIS system. And right now I'm going through and organizing a spreadsheet where I'm gathering information about each art piece and the artwork. These are shorter paragraphs online. So when they click on the location or the artwork, something will pop up for the user and the visitor about the artwork. I've done about maybe 12 or 15 of the 82 pieces because it is quite time consuming. And I could really use some assistance with completing this task so we could get the art mapping project complete. My idea for this volunteer would be, volunteer 2 is sending you a list of 10, 20 of the artists and artwork to do the research, and then with a shared spreadsheet, putting in that information. Ideally, the sooner the better this is done, but within the next few months, I would really like to get this project complete by the beginning of next fiscal year, July 1. So that's the first task. The second one is an arts roundtable. So right now I'm in review of the strategic plan and putting down what's been done and what still needs to be done. In the art strategic plan, it talks about an informal art advisory committee to the city. Being as I have you, APPC, I don't feel that I need a more of a rules and policy committee, but it is really good to have community input on all of these initiatives that we're going forward. So our team brainstormed and thought of the arts roundtable, which would be, we're thinking quarterly. So I could really use 1 or 2 volunteers to help me facilitate that in the summer, probably a July, August, to have our first meetup. The location and what it won't be a formal agenda, but what are those items we'll talk to the community members about our arts program. So those are the 2 tasks. Again, I know you're busy, so even if it's just one volunteer in each of those would be really helpful.
Do you have an idea of how many people would be ideal to recruit for the Arts Roundtable?
Recruit for attendance or for volunteer?
Yeah, well, no, just, for attendance, like how many people would be part of that informal
Well,
advisory
it will
group?
be open to the community. I want to ensure that. So depending on our target audience for each one. So are we looking to target our educators for one? Are we looking to target arts professionals at galleries? And I think they could all be different. So I do want to ensure that all the diverse voices and ideas are heard. So probably around 40 would be good so that it doesn't get too large. You know, more ideas, the better too. I want, you know, the community to really be involved with our arts programming moving forward.
All right, so the volunteers to help you would be to help figure out who to reach out to, how to reach out to them.
And really to help design this, you know, it's just been the internal brainstorm of our department of how to move this initiative forward that was in our strategic plans. And I really haven't put pen to paper about what this will look like yet.
Great, okay. So for our committee members, it sounds like there's two very different kinds of volunteer tasks. One is really a research project where you can dig into, go online, find out information about the artists and the artworks, and you're contributing in a very significant way to that project and making sure that the information that is available to the public is accurate and clear. And the other volunteer task is really more of a community outreach, community engagement activity. And so they both sound like really great projects to work on. And here we are, we're a group of volunteers. So who wants to volunteer for the art mapping project?
I'll go ahead and do, you said there's about 80 or
We have 82 pieces in our permanent collection and
There's about 70
Yeah.
left to map.
probably, I know I have a couple team members working on this, so there may even not be that much. Now, in the long run, I do want to map all the public art and private development as well. I mean, we do have a lot of the art here. So, and even getting some people on board for that, knowing that it's as your schedule allows is, you know, okay too, because I understand that.
No, I'll go ahead and volunteer for some of
That's
that.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And hopefully there's another volunteer.
I could, I can't take on 70,
Yes.
but I could take on maybe 10
Yeah,
or something like that.
Exactly. Great, thank you.
Sure.
And so that would mean going out to the piece,
Just researching online.
just researching online.
Yeah, and a lot of it is available online and, you know, just ensuring it's accurate. You know, I'll have to give a word counts and stuff of what we'd want to fit with links to.
And so
more
we
artist
would
information.
write, or I would write, and Lisa would write a little blurb about the piece after looking up. Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Awesome, thank you.
Great.
And Meredith, I could help as my schedule allows as well, so.
Great, thanks, Kristen. Okay, and volunteers for the Arts Roundtable. I'll throw my name in the hat for that. Anybody else?
Just had a question about when you see these meetings starting, you said that when they get kicked off, it would be goal for them to be quarterly meetings.
That's what I'm thinking. Again, this is all amendable and it's just all here right now of what would be best for the community. Maybe we start thinking it's quarterly and we do something different. But I'm open to ideas. I think the first one, I'll really need that help planning and executing and then moving forward. I think quarterly is really good for the community, especially if we wanted to do them all in different districts and different target audiences.
And would you think about hosting these meetings at city-owned properties or just, again, this is.
I think we can do both. I like the idea of supporting other businesses as well. You know, if it's a gallery and a lot of us haven't been to that gallery and supporting them by going there. Part of our strategic plan, it is to our messaging to go for don't come to us, we'll come to you. And I think actually by physically doing that sometimes also does send a strong message.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You had it.
No, that kind of answered my question. I was just curious about kind of just basic summary of what those initial meetings might look like.
Okay, so anybody else want to help?
I would also like to help with that
Great.
committee or that task.
I'll come to the first one. If that's useful.
Do you want to volunteer to help with it or?
Sure.
Okay. Great.
Okay. All right, so Meredith and Jack, we talked about whether we wanted to actually have a vote to formalize this help. Is that
Yeah, because it's just volunteers, we do not need a motion.
okay? Great. One thing I will mention to all the committee members is that we've previously had task forces, which we now no longer have. And Meredith, Jack, and I spoke briefly this morning about a less formal structure in which volunteers to particular tasks or projects seems like a better way to go, right? So we don't have these task forces where you feel like compelled to get some work done and report back. This is like, okay, these are real projects that we're actually going to have happening. And especially, I think, looking at the art mapping, there's a very specific goal, which is to have every single public artwork owned by the city in locations around the city on the map and with information. I think that it sounds like the Arts Roundtable is more like, yeah, we want to have the first meeting in June or July, but we got to figure out what it is. So I think there's a little bit.
Yeah, and we can also
less
amend that
specific.
to in August, depending on you speak. And then also on that note, with our strategic plan, as these two items are from that, I do plan on bringing that forward, whether it's May or June, with where we're at with the plan, as a discussion item, so we can talk about what we'd like to bring from that moving forward, and we can discuss more about the task force and what was implemented and pluses and minuses, and just have a group discussion about it. The strategic plan does end in June, so I'll be putting a report together for that. But again, we'll be taking a lot of that stuff forward from the positives of that into this next year.
Great, thank you. Okay, then we can now, I think, move on to item 9.2, the SAWA panels. So yes, let's have a report on our status.
Yeah, thank you, Chair
The never-ending
Nathanson.
project, right?
And I apologize, I was going to put some slides together and I just didn't have time, but today I want to review with you just a brief history again of our portion of the project, which is the panels and the contract with the foundry and where we're at with that. The original contract was signed January 11th, 2022, and that was for $300,000. However, looking back, that did not account for some significant project considerations, which affects the final cost. During the review in 2022, after the contract was signed with the panels, they found that the panels were in really need of repair and that it actually wasn't fit to be put back into Courthouse Square. So the team here at the time contacted the family and they approved us pouring these panels in bronze. And so then it was also found that there was an additional 51 feet. So it was thought to be 277 square feet, but it was actually 328 feet. So the cost kept increasing on these estimates. Also, the Artworks Foundry was only good for a year of that contract. So we have a new quote, which is $546,165. So that's $276,165 short. We did pay the Artworks Foundry $30,000 already to scan the images. So that scanning's or scanning the panels, sorry. So that scanning's done, and they're now ready to print the panels this summer in bronze. But we are short that amount of money. Again, the original $300,000 did not account for tax, which is actually 40, I think it's 42 around that thousand. It didn't account for fabrication, didn't account for that additional square footage. So while it does seem this surprise of that large cost, there were things that were unaccounted for at the very beginning of this project.
And the cost of casting materials and
Changing.
labor has
Mhm.
gone up significantly
Correct.
over the past.
We
couple of
did
years.
add in a contingency that's around 5%. Before they had a very small contingency in it. So that 5% contingency is 25,000 on this contract to account for some price changes or things that we won't be aware of. So we're able to look at some different funds, not only the Public Art Fund, because that is a very large ask of our fund and we wouldn't really have that amount of money to give with our other projects going on. There were some contracts coming to an end. We had the Kim's and Creative contract that had 47,000 left in that. And it actually expired end of last year. I thought it was this year, but it was end of last year. And same with Preservation Arts had $10,000, which was our maintenance. So that was $57,000 I was able to move back, unencumber and put into our funds. It doesn't mean we won't go forward with using services like that, but if we were to anyways, we would have to enter into a new contract. So we move those back into our fund. So right now our fund balance is 537,000 altogether. That includes the arts and parks, citywide art, National Arts Program, and our public art fund for projects, which is 407,000. So I feel that looking at our budget and the importance of these panels for our community, my recommendation today is that we pull $75,000 aside to put into this Artworks Foundry contract for these panels from the Public Art Fund.
Great, thank you. I think we can ask questions and then we will, I'll ask for a motion to approve $75,000 to the project, and then we can have discussion. So any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So our original, the Art in Public Places funds was 300,000. That's the original that from our fund or from the Art in Public
That
Places
was
fund?
no, we have not contributed yet from our Public Art Fund. That was from PG&E resettlement funds. That was set aside.
Okay,
And
that's
it moved from that one account into our account balance, and then it was held encumbered in our account. So we never saw it in our full fund.
okay, because I know it was in our fund. I was just wondering, how'd that work?
So we
Okay,
haven't technically contributed yet from our Public Art Fund to these panels.
okay. So that was that. And then wasn't the downtown district or the committee, they were funding the majority, but the funding from the original construction of the plaza or the courthouse square, none of those funds that were set aside were towards the fountain, correct?
So Downtown Action Organization is helping fundraise with Hugh Futrell for the fountain, not the panels. So there's
Okay.
two separate projects, right? He's in charge of doing the fountain and we're in charge of doing the panels. We did have 84,000 left, $84,805 left in Courthouse Square Reunification Fund, which we'll be using towards this as well.
Towards the panels.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
And if we approve the 75,000,
Where does that get us?
the balance of the funds needed, are they coming from those sources you
They're
just?
coming from additional funding sources, not the Public Art Fund.
And one other question comes to mind, and that is the timing that we can actually announce a schedule for the reinstallation
Yeah.
of the fountain and the panels.
So after the approval or hopeful approval today, with the recommendation of the 75,000, I still need to get the final approval from the city manager on the additional funding sources. And then this does need to go to council because this is a large contract. I believe that council meeting may have to be in June to get this approval. And as soon as that is approved, the foundry said they could start pouring the panels this summer. Because as you can imagine, they have a lot of projects going on, and this has been one of those projects that's been on their plate, but so now they can move forward this summer. We have yet to receive a timeline with the fountain build. So if the panels are poured before, we are looking at some ideas of temporarily displaying these in Courthouse Square, even one or two of the Santa Rosa, the ones that have the Santa Rosa cityscape on it. So we've been exploring options like that.
Okay, great. Okay, do I have a motion for approval of $75,000 to Artworks Foundry from the Public Art Fund for the casting of the Ruth Asawa panels for Old Courthouse Square.
I so move.
It has been moved by Debel. Is there a second?
I second.
Kristen. Great. It's been moved and seconded to approve 75,000 for the Asawa panels, and the floor is open for discussion. Any comments or questions? I have a comment, and that is the reason I asked about timing is because the major Ruth Asawa retrospective
Yeah.
just opened on Saturday at SF MoMA.
That would be nice. if
It
we
would
could-
be so great, I think,
Yeah.
to make a public announcement that this project has been scheduled for installation so that hopefully Santa Rosa can get a little bit of public recognition on the coattails of the SF MoMA show.
Would be great.
Yeah, I think that'd be, and if we, I don't know when the Asawa show at SF MoMA closes.
I think it's June.
It's
Oh.
touring.
That's,
It's going to a number of different
oh, that's why
institutions.
it's
Well,
so
one-
short.
That's why it's such a
touring.
short.
Okay.
Yeah,
June?
that's,
I thought it was.
I was hoping that it was gonna have a longer run, so it would be so great to like have a viewing or tour of the fountain installed on the coattails of, but at
It
least if we
goes-
can make an
It
announcement.
goes till September.
Goes till
Okay.
September?
September
Okay.
2nd.
I'm glad I was
My
wrong.
birthday.
April, opened April 5th to September 2nd,
Okay.
September
Well, our
2nd.
hope- our hope is to work with the foundry of going there, doing some video of them doing this and getting that community excitement again for these panels and the process of it and, you know, putting it on our arts webpage, et cetera. So once we start moving forward with this, with the new contract, and then getting that timeline from the foundry, I think that's a great time to go more public with that timeline of the panels and some images and excitement about that.
Wonder if we could do a APPC sponsored visit to SF MoMA to see Ruth Asawa's show or something like that to kind of generate local excitement, but to also help educate the public about who this important artist is and why it's so significant that we have this public artwork by her. That might be an interesting thing to see if we can. Put something together.
I didn't quite get your thought, get a group.
A group
Put it
from
out
San-
there
yeah,
for
like
Santa
a,
Rosa.
yeah, like a Santa Rosa group.
Field trip.
Field trip, yeah, field trip to SF
With the
MoMA.
public or with the,
Well, we could do it with the committee, but I'm just thinking using it as a vehicle for to help educate the public about who she is, or maybe we just do that with an article in the paper.
We would have to avoid quorum issues for meeting anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
right. There's always that.
Weird hiccup, yes.
Weird hiccup. Okay, any other discussion or questions, concerns? Okay. Kristen?
I was just gonna say, I'm glad that you found those extra funds to be able to move back over to our arts fund. So thankfully from the Crimson Creative contract closing and I think that helps me make this decision easier in order to.
We also have received, it's, right now it's 69,000.
Oh, the Montgomery Village.
We have a lot, and we usually budget to receive in about 75,000 a year with the 1%. Right now, we're at 69,244 that we received in this year, and we do have a couple other large projects coming in.
That's already
So
just-
I expect us to have about 100,000 that have come in this year to the Public Art Fund. So we'll be okay doing this. I wouldn't request it if I didn't feel confident in that.
Yeah, sounds great.
Appreciate your thought on this.
Okay, so it's been recommended by staff that we approve 75,000 for the project. And we have a motion and a second to approve that $75,000 Artworks Foundry from the Public Art Fund for the Ruth Asawa panels. Let's have a vote. Jack?
All right, Chair Nathanson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer,
Aye.
Committee Member Puentes,
Aye.
Committee Member Faulkner,
Aye.
Committee Member Darian.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that the motion passes unanimously.
Great. Thank you all. Okay, we are moving on to item 9.3, Arts and Culture Update. Meredith?
Move, nice. Back you. Oh, so I can't miss something. I used to work in tech, actually.
You sure you want to reveal that?
Yeah. The Arts and Culture Program Update. This is always my favorite portion of these meetings because we've been doing so many great things. Thanks to all of you for the selection panel, the volunteering. So today I wanted to give an update on the last 2 months of what's been going on in our program. First, I want to congratulate all the National Arts Program winners, and thank you, Chair Nathanson, for being one of our judges. I hope that was a positive experience. It
It
seemed
was
pretty
great,
neat.
yeah. It took a while, but.
Yeah, we had a lot. We had 152 residents participate, which is really great. We had from the teens and the youth. Some of the feedback I took that I'm hoping to expand on for next year is really doing more school outreach. And getting the more youth involved. I would like that. This is my first year doing it and, thrown in on that, but I think we could actually really grow this even bigger for our community. We've been doing this for 22 years and it's in the entire North Bay, we're the only active site. Napa did it 1 year, a couple years ago, and there's been some that have done it here and there years, but we're 22 years. And then the other closest one, I believe, is Ventura County. So Vice Mayor Alvarez came and presented with me and we handed out the checks thanks to Riley Street. They sponsor every year $200 worth of gift cards for the honorable mentions. And this is fully funded by not only the Riley Street gift cards, but the National Arts Program. They give us the check for not only the awards, which is a little over 3,000 awards, but they also give us money of $1,000 to pay the musicians, the photographer, the food, the drinks, all of that. So I just think it's really cool, to support that. So the show runs until April 18th. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend you stop on by. And soon I'll be also contacting some of the winners to see if they'd like to show in our new business lounge that we have at the One Stop Shop. Because we have a lot of wall space, I thought that would be a really great addition that they could still show, and I can have some artist information out there about them.
I'm sorry, in where, to show where?
We have our business lounge, which is now over in room 6. So it's open for meetings, et cetera. And we've redesigned it for
Okay.
economic development. And so I think it's a great opportunity to show some local arts. They wanted me to do some art for those walls. And I think this is a great opportunity for students and residents to show.
It's really nice. It's been kind of redesigned as a lounge with seating areas and some conference rooms, and it's pretty cool. I'll recommend everybody go to the Finley Center to see the National Art Show. I was particularly impressed with the youth.
I have.
The youth art.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, there a few of the professional art, adult art entries are very, very good. But when you see the overall quality of the work by students, it's really pretty impressive.
The time that they put into the work.
And a lot of
was-
talent, yeah.
yes.
So it's
We'll
great.
do comments
It's
at the
worth it.
end. Sorry, comments at the end.
Yeah.
These comments at the end, no one can discuss.
Yeah.
Earthbound Art for a Sustainable Future. So I believe 1 or 2 of you sat on that selection committee, and we have 4 pieces up in Courthouse Square through April. We have Inquire Within, Donna Santa Rosa, Quercus Surrogate, and Contemplative Garden, which is an augmented reality exhibit. So this is up through April. I'd encourage you also to share this online. We've been doing some social media marketing as well in Marin County, Sacramento County. Even if, ideally people attend, but it's getting our arts program on the map of what we're doing here. So that's been really exciting, and the installs finished up last week on the 1st. Big Belly Trash Can art has now been installed. So this is all on Sebastopol Ave. We have 10 artists were selected from Sonoma County, and those were from all age ranges and abilities. And this is really exciting. Again, I know some of you sat on that selection panel, so I'd recommend going down and popping by and seeing them. I got some images of them now there, they look really neat. So the Streets to Creeks program is promoting the Meet the Artist page. I'll also be updating our arts webpage with all of the artist information. There's a QR code on all of the cans that goes to, you scan it and you can read about the artists online. Call for art. So we have our temporary art walk that the call for art opened, and it closes end of this month. Again, the artist receive a stipend of $5,000 to show for 2 years. I've been walking downtown with Downtown Action Organization. Tomorrow I'm meeting with Railroad Square Association, getting a whole different opportunity sites for this. I'll be coming back next month at our meeting to ask for 1 or 2 of you to sit on the selection panel for this. And please promote to artists and any sculpture artists that you know. All the information is on our website. You can send out. So yeah, so that's really exciting to get some artwork coming out downtown. And that is it for me update. Now discuss.
Do you
Great.
have any, besides the online thing here, do you have any flyers for this call for art that I take and put in studios that I,
I haven't, but I can make one for you and print them out and get them to you.
okay, because I could put them in, I have a studio in it's called the studios. And
Okay.
there's 2 big buildings of artists. I could
Okay.
put
Yeah, I'll
some
make
Oh,
some.
that's
and-
cool.
Oh, I would take some
Sweet.
too.
Okay.
over at Finley Avenue.
Oh, in Finley, yeah.
Arts 33 and
Yeah.
the studios, I could put them there.
Yeah, I can get some too, Lisa.
And I shared it on social media, and if anybody's on Facebook or Instagram. or
Yeah, I've
whatever,
seen it. I've
yeah,
seen it. I just know that
Yeah.
it would be, I could put them up on the bulletin boards there.
I'll get some this week to you.
And I know in terms of upcoming projects, there were a couple of projects, Meredith, that we had selection panels for.
Mhm.
And when will they be coming to this committee for review?
The mural project.
The mural, I'm thinking of the police fence.
The Brookwood mural, right now they're completing their RFP.
Mhm.
And they're meeting with the selection panel. I believe it's April 23rd. I have to take a look at that for review, and then the finalists will be brought here. And currently the Colgan Creek mural, we still do need to get the RFP to them. That's been pushed a little bit. There's a amendment to a contract. So the state of California is saying that there's a contractor's license that muralists need now. And so I'm waiting for that to pass the amendment, which I believe actually was today. And then I'm going to issue that RFP to them. So I was actually just waiting for that before they did the RFP.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Question, is that contract necessary for all artists doing work on public property, like within, on city-owned or county-owned property?
I haven't read, it's a contractor's license that they're
Yeah.
requiring for muralists to have. I'm not
that's-
sure on what the type of property it is. I haven't read too much. I halted that project for a second until I know that that amendment passed, and I believe it was going there
Let's
today.
make it even.
So
Do you remember what
Yes.
amendment?
SB 456.
Okay.
We've been seeing these sort of requirements happen. The first time I've ever seen something like this happen was probably about 3 decades ago, when there was a muralist who was contracted to do a police substation in San Francisco.
Right.
And a union representative came in and asked for their membership card to the Painters Union. And of course, the artist didn't have such a thing. Anyway, and so over the last 3 decades, you've seen more and more that whether it's insurance or unions or contractors' licenses, where there's these demands put on artists. Sometimes it's a good thing. It helps protect the artist, and usually it seems like just more and more bureaucratic red tape. But let's keep an eye on that too.
Yeah, and I'll have a further update on the murals next meeting in May.
Okay, any other comments or questions about the arts and culture update?
A quick question about the Big Belly trash can art. Do you have this online as well, that this is now installed and available to view? Because I know that the RFP was online previously and it was.
Not on the arts website. I need to do that this week. Right now, it's on the Streets to Creeks Meet the Artists, which is where the QR code goes to, because this is sponsored by them. So I just need to go into our website and do that, which I'm hoping to get this done this week.
And it would be, just thought, if there's an opportunity to include a map of where all the trash cans are.
That's a
that
good
would-
idea. I'll do that.
That way people can, you know, go with intention to go
Yeah.
see it. Cool. I'm excited to go see that artwork.
Great. Okay, we are moving on to item number 10, committee member reports. Okay, committee members are welcome to make general comments or announcements at this time. Anybody? Kristen?
I have an announcement. I'm helping organize the Bike in Block Party that will be on 4th Street on May 10th, Saturday, May 10th. And I was also able to secure, I was talking with Meredith about this before the meeting, but I was able to secure a community improvement grant for this. So I will be helping orchestrate a large community artwork during the Bike in Block Party. So I hope all can come and attend. We put on all the signs, you know, it's not limited to biking. If you want to rollerblade or if you want to dance or skip, however you want to get to the block party. But come paint with me at the block party.
Are
Great.
you, what's your, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Where is this at? And what does this entail?
So the block party is a coming together of volunteers from Bikeable Santa Rosa, the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition, a number of volunteer advocacy and organizational groups. And we had the bright idea that we wanted to have a public engagement art project there. And so I worked with Santa Rosa Urban Arts to put together a proposal. And now that we've been awarded funds for this, I really need to get down into the nitty-gritty of working with the artist to see what it will actually look like and how we display it.
And where's this at? again?
The art piece will be worked on at the corner of B Street and 4th Street and Mendocino. So like right where
Oh, right
the
there.
Exchange Bank is.
Okay.
We're working on shutting down that section of 4th Street, and that will be designated space for us doing artwork.
Okay.
More details to come on what it will
And-
actually look like.
And what is like all day or?
The event is from 1 PM until 8 PM, so
Wow.
in the afternoon. And I don't have any printouts of the poster yet with me, but I'll connect that with Meredith so she could blast it out to the group.
Okay. Great, thanks.
Okay, sorry, double.
No, you,
Any other
same
announcements?
questions.
I've got a couple. So I announced this at the previous meeting, but just a reminder that this is an exhibition that I curated, just opened on Saturday, April 5th, and it runs through, I believe, June 7th in the East Bay. If you're in the East Bay, the Richmond Art Center, it's an exhibition, retrospective actually, of the muralist John Worley. And if you are familiar with Richmond, Berkeley, Oakland murals, you've seen his work, even if you don't know his name. He also has a tremendous wealth of studio-made work, but he's primarily known as a muralist, as a public artist, and that's why I thought that would be of interest to this group, even though it's not in Santa Rosa. And then also mark your calendar for June 15th. it will be the opening of a new sculpture exhibition at Paradise Ridge Winery. And I am very honored to be the curator of that exhibition that honors the legacy of Walter Bick and his late wife, Marika. And we'll have mostly Santa Rosa based artists included in the show, a few who are beyond Santa Rosa, but all Sonoma County artists in the exhibition. So that's on June 15th, coming up. Okay, any other committee member reports? Okay. We are looking ahead to May. The May meeting is scheduled for May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo. Hopefully, all of us will be able to attend that afternoon, and we will have a quorum so we can hold the meeting. When we're done with the meeting, I think we're all going to want to go out to the Cinco de Mayo event in Roseland. So we will have to be careful not to go as a group. I know, Jack, you know.
We can absolutely attend events together, ceremonial things, but.
No mini meetings.
No mini meetings.
Absolutely correct.
We will not be allowed to conspire about anything.
Exactly.
We're such a subversive group here.
Drink a couple of beers and have a good time.
Yeah.
All right. With no further business to attend to, this meeting is adjourned.
Thanks.
Wow. And we're doing these meetings well under an hour now. I am so happy.